Welcome to Commander Pat Alesia. Well, I always no, it's not Alicia, it's Alicia.
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 Well, you have to spell your name
Alicia.
different. You have to spell your name differently. I'm sorry. It's supposed to be pronounced Alicia. It's Alicia.
Yeah, a lot of people pronounce it that way, but I pronounce it Alicia. Okay.
And we're heard exclusively on MalcolmPresents.com, and we're talking about the American Legion, and it's the good, bad, and the ugly, mainly the good. And Pat, introduce our guest.
Okay. Today we have a special guest, Joseph Scharola. I'll give you a little bit of his background. He has been the post commander of Rockville Center Post for 8 years. He's also been the post membership officer for 12 years. He's the rental chairman of the post. He's the house chairman of the post. In addition, he has been on the county level, 1st Division vice commander. He's also been membership officer for 2 years because of the virus. Currently, he is the county adjutant and my right-hand man. Joe received in 2019-2020 the Nassau County and 10th District Legionnaire of the Year awards. And more importantly, next year, Joe will be in my spot as the county commander. Okay, all right. So now I'm going to ask Joe to briefly explain or summarize your active duty military career.
Thank you for those kind words, Pat.
They're all true.
I served in the U.S. Navy from 1965 to 1969. I went to officer candidate school from July to October, 4 months, and commissioned as an ensign. My first ship was a light cruiser. That's about 600 men. And I spent most of my time in operations. That's in the radar room, tracking targets and on the bridge. Got my at-sea qualifications, officer of the deck. My second ship was a little destroyer escort, about 1/4 the size. While the cruiser had 600 men, the little destroyer had only 150 men. And I think my experience on that little destroyer, it was so challenging and interesting, nothing I've ever experienced in my life. I wanted to stay in the Navy and make it a career. But I had gotten married, and the Navy is going out to sea. And so that's 6 months deployments all the time. And I came home from one of those deployments, and my 1.5-year-old son did not recognize me. He was 2 years old by then. And that's the Navy.
Yes.
And I regretted leaving it. I did the right thing. But I have very fond memories of the men I met, the camaraderie on the ship, the loyalty to one another that I never met in civilian life. And some bad things happened to the people around me. I always felt I was in the right place at the right time. When I graduated officer candidate school, the Navy sent me east to the Mediterranean, sent one of my roommates west to the Western Pacific, and he was in the backseat of an F-4 radar intercept officer, wasn't a pilot, but his plane was shot down over Vietnam. Missing in action, believed dead, body never recovered. And when I found his name on the Vietnam Wall about 12 years ago, 40 years had passed, and I was crying just standing there because God was good to me. I married a wonderful girl, been married 55 years. God bless me. She's been a joy to me. 4 children, 9 grandchildren. And Bernie Rapinski never had that. Up at the North Atlantic, we hit gale force winds, which is 1 step below hurricane. And we were being bounced around like we were a ping pong ball in the surf at Long Beach. And a sailor fell overboard. And I was a lieutenant junior grade at the time then, it's like a first lieutenant in the Army. So I didn't think, well, we'll pick them up. That's what happened in the Mediterranean. Another ship picked them up, but I could see the captain was nearby in the radar room, Combat Information Center, and I could see he had a look on his face that this was serious. I didn't realize at the time, but it was. When they picked him up, another ship, about a half hour later, he was dead, because unlike the Mediterranean, the water is ice cold at the Arctic Circle. And
I would think
that
so.
cold just sucks the life right out of you. And I'm not talking about someone our age. I'm talking someone 19 years old, 21 years old, in the prime physical condition he'll ever be. And the third thing that I saw, when I was on the cruiser, I was about to go on for the noon watch, noon to 4. And it was up on a bridge, and it's very tense. It's very stressful, watching targets, making sure you're in formation, communicating with other ships. So around 11 o'clock, I went to the back of the ship, the fantail, and just to watch the water, just a moment of silence to myself. And there was a working crew not too far away from me. So I went over to the second class petty officer in charge. It's like a sergeant. And I said, look, if I'm in the way, just tell me to move. I said, you're working, I'm not. I'm just killing time until I go on watch. He said, no, sir, that's all right. So when the 15 minutes was over, I walked up to the bridge, and I can tell when I got to the bridge that something was wrong. There was a tension, a silent tension that shouldn't have been there. And I said, what happened? And they said, oh, there's an accident on the fantail. So I said, oh, you're kidding. And they said, why would we kid about something like that, Joe? I said, no, you don't understand. I was just on the fantail.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. And they said, well, how long did it take you? Well, how long does it take to get up to the bridge? 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 1 minute? It seemed like a line had snapped and crippled a sailor who was only standing maybe 15, 20 feet from me. And so those 3 stories is why I've gotten so involved with the American Legion, because guys who weren't in the right place at the right time, the people don't know about, or the people don't care. And that's what got me involved.
Yeah, but as I always say, there, but for the grace of God, go I.
Yeah.
That's
Really?
Yeah.
My wife always says, if it's your time, it's your time. There's nothing you can do about it. And the older I get, the more I agree with her.
I've always felt guilty about that.
Because I was
only
telling
someone in the American Legion can understand what I just said.
So, Joe, the question is that's what motivated you to join the American Legion, or how long after you got out of the Navy did you wait before you actually became a member?
When I made full lieutenant, I made that in 3 years. Normally, that's like an Army captain. Normally it took about 5 years, but because of the expansion, I made it in 3 years. And when I saw the list come out with my name on it, I saw an asterisk next to a name just next to me, Bernard Rapinski. And I said, well, why is there an asterisk next to his name? And the XO, the lieutenant commander, said, oh, he's not in the service anymore. I said, how could he not be in the service? He has to serve 4 years like I did. And that's when I first found out that Bernie had died. I didn't have anything to do with the American Legion. I didn't wear a Navy ball cap. I was angry because people were saying bad things about those who served in the military, calling us bad names.
Yep.
But when we had a 25th wedding anniversary, my wife and I said, let's go to the local American Legion and rent the hall and have a party for the family. And so when I rented the hall for the family for our 25th wedding anniversary in 1991, the commander asked me, would you like to join the Legion? We'll pay for a first year. I said, well, if it's for free, okay. So I joined the Legion and really was not very active.
Now, was that the Rockville Center post?
Correct.
Okay.
And so for about 10 years, I attended meetings, but I was working in Wall Street. You know, I was going in early, coming home late. I didn't really have time, but I really wasn't motivated. And then the commander said to me, what are you doing Saturday? He said, why don't you come out with us to Northport? That's the VA hospital in Northport. I said, well, I'm a bit. So he talked me into it. And in building 92, you have to be 70% disabled to be in that hospital. I'm talking about people with no arms and no legs. There was a 24-year-old kid who's a bomb had gone off near his head. So he was 24 years old with serious dementia that most people get when they're 88, not when they're 24.
Sure, sure.
And it just broke my heart. And that's when I became involved. I said, oh, the American Legion is a vehicle for doing something for veterans that people don't care about. And that's what motivated me. And so I became treasurer.
Okay.
And I didn't really become that active until we had two guys running the post. They were World War II veterans. And one became hospitalized and one moved to a nursing home within like a month of each other. So I was left with the post. Who's going to rent the post? Who's going to do everything else?
What was the membership? Joe, what was the membership like then in terms of numbers?
We had about 125, 130 members.
Okay.
And in the 12 years, 13 years, we're down to 99 or 100, which to me isn't bad, because as the older generation dies out, it was hard to get people in. But I've gotten a number of young people in. That has made a difference.
Okay, now the question is, how were you able to get young people into the Legion?
Every time I rented the hall, I would ask, oh, did you serve? Because they would see.
Right, okay.
And that would start up a conversation. Oh, I was in the Army. Oh, I was in the Marine Corps. And I would give them a membership card. And in fact, there's one person, he lives in Piscataway, New Jersey. He's my member. He just sends me dues, but of course he doesn't come to my post. So I guess the thing is just to be active. See someone on, always have a membership card with you, always ask.
Right.
And maybe you ask 20 times and only get one member. But if you only ask once, then you won't get anybody.
But the good thing about
you got to keep asking.
Yeah, but the good thing about it is that you're attracting some new, younger membership into the post, and that's what we're all trying to do.
That's what we talk about. I mean, my impression of the American Legion is, and actually the people that I see as a bunch of old people, talking about the past.
Yeah,
that's true.
But you see the soldiers today, the ones who when the reserve, the ones that's do 4 or 5 years and then come out after active duty. They're young and vibrant, and these are I don't know how you get these guys to participate.
Yeah,
you have to just keep asking.
Yeah.
It's like pushing a snowball up a hill. And if you let go, it comes back down on you. So always pushing. It's
so it's a never-ending process. You got to just keep at it and hope for the best. You got
to get a hardcore group that are as young that could attract people in their own generation.
But you can't be afraid of rejection.
No, that's true.
All right, thank you. And but some of my young guys have brought in other young guys.
Walter, that's the key
that you've met, and Robert Kim.
Oh yeah.
Well, these are some of the people we could have. With the Zoom, I could have up to 100 people on the screen talking to. Of course, that's too much, but we could have 4 or 5 people talking, interchanging, and have the younger guys and find out, what turned them on, what
motivated them to join.
They have to listen to me being enthusiastic. If I wasn't, then I wouldn't be pushing it.
Sure.
But I've talked to a couple of other people. I can mention their names at the county level who are successful. And what do you do? And they say, I carry membership cards with me. I'm always not pushing, but just saying,
but you always,
the American Legion means to me.
You always have to be prepared for the moment. And if you get that moment, you got to go for it. I hear what you're saying,
Well, I was always in sales, and my thing is you're always marketing. And when I run each morning, when I run, I have business cards. I have with Malcolm Presents cards, because I never know when I stop, speak to somebody, either I want them as a guest on the show, or tell them about the show, or something. I hand them a business card.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's constantly marketing.
Enthusiasm is contagious. And if you really feel good about the product, it shows when you talk about it. And I don't pressure. I said, you know what? If you just want to be a member, that's okay. If you don't come to a meeting, that's okay. Love to have you come for Memorial Day, just 1 hour a year.
See, Joe,
being a member is important, even if you do nothing, because the people in Washington see 3 or 4 million people, and they may not take away the GI Bill because it's 300 voting people out there. So we want to keep the membership up, if no other reason than to keep our benefits, who you might want to use someday.
That's my philosophy. Pay your dues now, and then maybe 10 or 15 years later, when you have more time on your hands, you can participate and we'll still be around.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything coming out of the national office that there is unity between, let's say, New York and Los Angeles, or your different posts. Maybe I haven't seen it, so I don't know if there is or there isn't.
Unity?
Yeah, of doing some sort of, as you said, if you have a million people or members, if you see collectively they're active. I haven't seen that type of collective activity yet from the American Legion.
Yeah, I don't have any.
The only thing that comes to mind, which is totally opposite, is like the NRA. You constantly find the national things are talking about all their memberships and what they're behind.
Yeah.
But to me, that's negative. I'm anti-NRA.
I'm sure there's things going on a national level, but maybe they should be more publicized.
More promoted.
And promoted so that
it should be sent down to you guys, to your level, your commander. You should know what they're doing constantly.
One of the things I do for the young people, if they're in the service or if they're just young, I say, we'll pay your dues. We'll pay your dues as long as you're in the service.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So
that's a good idea.
I mean, they're young. And then when you get out, then you can be a member. So the thing is, I want that literature coming to their address. I want the National American Legion magazine coming to them.
Well, like you talk about your experiences and the sorrow and the heartache that you have. A lot of people who are in active duty do not share this with others. They keep it within themselves, and that's bad. And again, if you're a member of sort of like the American Legion, and you're at your post, whether you're playing cards with somebody or just socializing, and you say, "Oh, where did you serve?" And if they serve in the same area, and they can talk about shared experiences, which may be very cathartic for them to get it off of their chest.
Absolutely.
I've said to anybody.
Yeah.
I just don't talk about it. Most guys don't either.
Well, that's a problem.
It's hard to talk about.
But you keep it in.
Yeah.
If you let it out.
But you have more of the opportunity to talk about it if you're like at the American Legion post,
yes.
And
yes.
having a Coke or sharing a meal. You might be a little more relaxed and willing to share with a fellow veteran. That's the way I look at it.
It's common experience.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, when it's me again, I was brought up Jewish in Brooklyn. When I meet somebody, who's Brooklyn, who's Jewish, we open up to our shared experiences. Same probably you do as being Italian.
Yeah.
In fact, Italian and Jews are the same family. Some of my best friends I was in Coney Island were Italian.
And Ozone Park was half Jewish and half Italian. And what they all had in common is that if my friend's mother or my mother had 8 people over for dinner, she made food for 32.
Yeah.
And so there is no difference.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
In Yiddish, it's "es mein Kind."
Yes.
And what's Italian? It's Manja. And
Malcolm, you know our buddy Sid, right?
Yeah.
Sid grew up as a Jewish child in an Italian neighborhood, and Sid loves Italian food.
Yeah. Well, I love food. Two of my favorite holidays was the San Gennaro Festival.
Oh, okay.
In the East Village, in the West Village, and then the St. Anthony's Festival, which is in Soho.
Mm-hmm.
And And one was, I think, around July 4th. And I can eat enough that I'm not hungry again until Labor Day when I have the next festival.
I've never went to those.
That Pat had mentioned it, and if I could just talk briefly about it.
Sure.
I started this commander who brought me to Northport said, why don't you start coming to some of the county meetings? So at one of the county meetings, I heard about something called Law and Order.
Right.
So what's that about? And basically it's the community, the police commissioner and the fire chief select one of their own who are done an outstanding job. And the American Legion Post gives an award and either a certificate or a plaque. So I said to myself, oh, I want to do that because my son is a New York City police officer. And I see how the police are treated, reminding me back in '69, how the military was treated. So I went to the Malvern Post, the next one having it. And I got from, I think it was John Hassett. He gave me samples of letters that he sent to the fire chief, that he sent to the police commissioner. And when they responded to names, these are the letters now you send to the politicians saying, we're having this. Would you like to come and say a few words? And of course, they always bring a proclamation. But since I was doing everything at the time, I looked in the mirror and said, you know what? I don't want to just give a certificate or a $50 plaque. So I paid $270 to $5 for a plaque. One for the policeman and one for the fireman. Because I felt like it. You know, when I took over, it was $2,500.
It's what you wanted to do.
I think I got the count up to like 50,000 just from aggressively renting the hall. And so don't you know, I won the Nassau County Best Law and Order. So I was starting to become overwhelmed, so I started giving things out. I had someone else become treasurer. Another guy took over as law and order chairman. Another guy, you know, I made sure other people could rent the hall like I did. So I told this Army guy, a lieutenant colonel, it's like a Navy commander, and I said, look, I'm a tough act to follow. I said, I've won the county law and order. So I said, just do what I do. You can't do better than winning that. So instead of a $250 plaque, he contacted these gun manufacturers, and they now are donating for free a weapon, a Derringer 1911, an M4 a year or two ago. So we continue to win this county award. But of course, this Army colonel has to show up a Navy lieutenant. I forgive him. I forgive him.
And that, I was going to say that Navy colonel, we're trying to motivate him to come to the county level, but see, he still has a full-time job. So it's, you know, he's weighing his opportunities there.
Yeah.
Well, you've been talking about the negative attitude that the public had against, actually, I know it was the Vietnam.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But hasn't that changed now?
Yes, it is. I think so.
To the point where I feel awkward when people will say to me, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
And I've explained to you how I feel about that people who really suffered and I didn't. And but it has changed. And I
hate to say it, you suffered from those experiences that you are related to, even though it's only three, but it really affected you. I mean, I could tell by your talking and
it stayed with him,
and you're close to tears thinking back then. I mean, that really had an effect, and I can imagine, or you can imagine, somebody that had been in the field and in battle in any of the wars, where they've seen, their buddy blown up or killed right next to them.
Yeah.
And the big question: why then? Like that. Why them? Why not me?
There, but the grace of God, that's how it works sometimes,
But I think the American public, because again, I'm part of that generation. I told Pat, it's not that I was anti-war, I was anti-Vietnam. I wasn't anti-soldier. I was anti-administration. I was anti that they made the soldiers there. The soldiers didn't have a damn choice.
Right. And I know that now.
They're all John Wayne that I'm going to go.
And I remember telling you, Malcolm, when I was a senior at City College in the ROTC program, we could not wear our uniforms on campus for our own safety.
Right. Well, as I told you, when I started CCM, I started CCNY in 1961, and more than half, people didn't know that we were fighting in Vietnam.
Yeah. Yes.
They had one of the groups picketing the college, anti-war. What war are we talking about?
Yeah.
Right.
The student Progressive Labor Party.
Students for a SDS, I think
SDS.
it was. Students for a Democratic Society or
right,
something.
And they were picketing for the war. Everybody said, "What war are you talking about?" No one knew Vietnam. I think that became the big thing. What, 65?
65. I was at City from 65 to
the Bay. It was the Bay of Tonkin.
Yep, that's what caused it. That was
which supposedly, as we find out now, was a setup.
Yes.
It really didn't happen. We did it to popularize the war. Right. And then of course, you guys probably remember this, the 68 Democratic Convention.
Oh yeah.
In Chicago, with Daley sending in the troops to beat up the kids.
Yeah. You
know, so the problem is the soldiers got the brunt of this because they were coming back, and they were kids themselves.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a lot different now, and thank God it is. It's a lot better, you know. As Joe was saying, sometimes you walk on the street and people will come up to you if you're in uniform and, you know, or wearing the hat, you know, thank you for your service, which I, you know, greatly appreciate.
Right.
Yeah, it's a matter, again, I'm doing that now. Sometimes I don't know if it's trite or not. That's a problem. I think I'm being, sometimes when I say it, I feel I'm being patronizing.
No, don't feel that way.
It's very appreciated.
Yes,
and
exactly.
I always say thank you for your kindness. You know, I say more than thank you. I said it's very kind of you. Thank you for saying that. I mean,
yeah. Well, as I said, we have to come up with a concept. Your membership, get these young guys in there. You know, spread the word. Yeah, that the American Legion does good, and it's a great place for people with similar experience to get together.
Yeah. There's a fair in Rockville Center Sunday, and I rattled off a couple of hundred flyers. This is what the American Legion does. It'd be on Rockville Center from 12 to 5, from noon until 5. And so we'll be selling poppies, giving away little bracelets, and but that flyer is important. Of course, we'll have a bunch of applications, you know, at that little table booth. So, you know,
did you have apps on? Do you have apps on the website?
I'm sorry?
Do you have an app on the website?
It's being run by the Rockville Center Chamber. It's called Eat Shop Rock, something like that. But anyway, the chamber is doing it, and Rockville Center has a booth. So we joined the chamber a couple of years ago, and so they see us. Some of the businesses didn't even know Rockville Center had an American Legion.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
Joe, can you briefly
we go there and they see us?
Can you briefly talk about the poppy selling program? You know, how that goes about?
When I first took over, we only had about $2,500, and one of these guy, a Korean vet, said, "Let's sell poppies." So I said, "What's that?" So he said, "Well," so we ordered some. We went to King Cullen, and we set out King Cullen. And now we don't really sell them, although that's the term we use. We offer them, and sometimes people put in $1, but every now and then someone will throw in a 20 or a 50. And I look at the face of the person, and I see a very sad look on the woman's face.
Yeah.
I said, "There's a sad story behind that. A brother was lost, a father was lost."
Yeah.
So we brought in like $1,800. And I said, "Wow." So the next year, this fellow Joe Bernetta, I said, "Let's get a couple of other guys." So next year we had like 3 or 4 guys, 5 doing it, and we got like 2,800. So it got to be too much of me doing everything else. So we got Walter Perush is now doing it. He's got about 12 guys, and we had people at 3 different sites on a Saturday morning: Front Street Bakery, the Golden Reef Diner, and Associated Food Stores. And so we brought in $10,000.
Wow.
because we had guys all over the place. And people will ask us, what is the poppy? I said, well, it's the American Legion symbol. And I'll tell you briefly what it's about. It might have been after the Battle of the Somme or Verdun. But anyway, when they cleared the battlefield, these little red poppies grew all over the field. It was a field of red. And so the American Legion took that as a symbol of the people who gave their lives.
Yeah, the red represents the blood of the soldiers
blood.
lost in battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But aren't poppies white?
No.
I'm thinking of the poppies. What am I thinking of?
It may be, but
they
of course,
make,
it's the red poppy that
they
we
make
promote.
cocaine from and opium.
I'm sorry?
Poppies.
Oh, yeah, that might be white. You're right. That could be
Yeah,
white.
that's what
This
they
is
have in
in Vietnam
Asia.
and places like,
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But
that's good publicity. Not only is it revenue, it's good publicity. They see us outside,
Poppy,
they
yeah.
see the hat, and we got jackets and polo shirts, and so people want to stop and talk. We say, this is for veterans. What do you do? This is for veterans.
Yeah.
I use the hall to collect money if I have a faucet leak or a roof leak, to maintain the hall. But when people donate, that goes to places like the Legacy Scholarship Fund. If you die serving your country, the American Legion will pay for your children to go to college, not the government, the American Legion. Yeah. So I tell people that while I'm selling poppies. I said,
but what you guys have to do, it seems like, I have two boys, 26 and 24. I mean, basically the way they communicate is over the internet.
Yeah.
Different websites, different things. It's, they don't call up anymore. If I ask a question, I say, well, look it up on the web. And this is the beginning, the show of the American Legion doing things on the web.
Right.
But you got to find people or the younger folk who can work the web for you, give you websites, give application, have applications.
That's how they communicate. Unfortunately, we communicate a little differently.
If there's no paper anymore, I mean, that gets me frustrated at my age. Yeah. You can't do anything. You can't go someplace, or you can't speak to people.
Yeah.
You call up something, you can't speak to people anymore. Right. You have to communicate with them.
There's no face-to-face interactions.
No, except the Zoom.
And sadly so. I've been at a diner with my wife, looked at a table next to us, man and wife and two children. No one talking to each other, all on the little machines.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah, very bad.
How sad.
But anyway, guys, speaking of time, we ran out of time. You realize we've been speaking for a half hour already?
Wow, that went quickly.
You're very kind to do this. Pat, I thank you for asking me.
No, I thank you for participating.
Yes, as I said earlier, tell your friends. We're on MalcolmPresents.com. If there are any people out there that want to, the American Legion, whether it's American Legion in Nassau County or nationally, contact me at malcolmpresents@gmail.com or contact Pat. And let him know, and we can have you on the show and talk about your post and what you guys are doing and make this thing happen.
And by the way, I just want to make a quick change. My email is now patandmarianne01@gmail.com because I had a problem and I had to change it. Okay. Just to put that out.
Right. Okay. So this can be like a center for the people to we'll start from there and then build up a whole network.
We could give it a shot. That's for sure.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much.
And I want to thank both of you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was very valuable, and I love your enthusiasm, and it came off. Watch the show. Absolutely. It should be up by tomorrow. MalcolmPresents.com, and let me know what you think. I'll let Pat know what you think.
Okay, Malcolm, thank you. Have a good week. Thank you, Joe. Have a good day.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you very much.
Now. Right.